Hello everyone, Simo here. For followers of my channel, you may remember a few months ago I did an introduction to the SNCASO Trident, produced by the card model company Answer. I did say that once I made the model, I'd make a construction video for you. So, here it is. Because of time constraints, I've had to split this into two videos. The first one here will deal with the fuselage, and the second video, coming soon, will deal with the wings and engines. Now I'll be making the fuselage in two sections, forward section and aft section. As you can see from the diagram, it's all made up from 12 segments, and each segment consists of an outer skin wrapped around two end former walls. I've already pasted the parts onto card that needed to be. Some parts need 1/2 mil cardstock, and some had to be pasted onto 1 mil card. I've separated the other sheets from the book, and with a roller I've treated these sheets with satin varnish. You can instead protect the final model with a spray varnish, but if you're not careful, you can warp the model, so I prefer to pre-varnish the sheets. So let's start the long process of cutting out the formers. Here are the skins for the 6 front segments. Each of these skins are rolled into a tube shape and the former walls glued to each end. I'm using a slightly watered down high-tack glue, which seems to work well in most circumstances. Where I can, I usually stuff these segments with tissue, It's not strictly necessary to do this, but I find it gives the segments a bit of added strength. So that's the segments done. I can move on to the cockpit. The cockpit interior fits between two of the segments. It looks complicated, but it's not really. Most of this is made up of one piece folded into shape. As you can see, the cockpit only has 3 pieces. This is the pilot seat. It has some detail, but I think most of this will be hidden by the pilot figure. The seat is done, and it needs to be glued to the cockpit wall. The space behind the seat was the only place where I could add some weight to stop the final model from sitting on its tail. I used some fishing weights coated in PVA for this. There was enough space to fit the cockpit assembly into the segment, but it had some awkward side flaps which were getting in the way. I couldn't really see they had any purpose, so I cut them off. And that's the cockpit finished. Onto the nose wheel bay. This is a simple box construction held between two of the segments. And now we join all those segments together for the finished forward section and put it aside to dry. The process to make the aft section is exactly the same. 6 segments comprising of formers and skins. One of the rear formers has these 3 spikes which fit into the tail surfaces. Because they're made of thin cardboard, I felt they weren't really strong enough for the job, so I coated them in superglue to harden them up. The centre segment still has the 2 end walls, but it also has an internal structure because it has to support the wings and the landing gear. I want to show the model with its wheels down, so I needed to cut out the gear doors. These are the internal parts which just form a T-shape between the end walls. Okay, everything is dry and time to slide the outer skin over the internal construction. This turned out to be the most difficult part of the model. I couldn't get the sleeve over the last former. How about from the other end? This was getting pretty frustrating. I thought I might have to make some modifications with the blade when suddenly it popped over. This was supposed to be just a dry run, but I wasn't going to take that off again, so I glued it in situ. The rear section is dry, so I glue both sections together for the final fuselage. So we have come to the end of part 1. Thanks for sticking with me. In the second part, I'll tackle the wings, the engines, and those final details to complete the model. That video will be coming soon. If you've enjoyed this video, then please press the like button, and if you're not already, then I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. I also really welcome your comments, and I try to reply to any questions you have. So with that, I will see you very soon. Bye bye.